My sister sent me an invitation to her wedding, and the letter said that there was no place for my autistic son. I didn't protest. I just declined the invitation. But when it came to her child's christening, she begged me to help organize the party. I didn't refuse, but during the party I told everyone the truth about who the child's real father was. My sister Melissa and I were never close. We grew up with the same last name, one bathroom, and exhausted parents, but we had nothing else in common. Even as a child, she knew how to turn everything to her advantage, while I was the one who smoothed things over. She lied, crossed boundaries, took what wasn't hers, and I was asked to understand everything. After school, our lives went in different directions. She began to crave attention as if she was owed it, and at 19, I got pregnant and became a full-time mother to a little boy I named John. His father was already halfway out of our lives when I told him I was pregnant. After the baby was born, I never heard from him again. John was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3. He is gentle, intelligent in his own way, and completely uninterested in the world in which Melissa thrives. She hardly ever visited us. When she did come, she would stay for 10 minutes and then make up an excuse to leave. Once, when John started crying because of a loud commercial, she looked at me and said, "Can't you do something about that?" After that, I stopped expecting anything special from her, so when Melissa wrote to me about her wedding, I was surprised. The message said, "We're getting married in August. We hope you can come. But please, there's no room for John. I don't want him to ruin everything with his energy. No offense. No room for John. No room for my son." That I stared at those words for a long time. It felt like someone had just opened a hatch in my stomach. But I didn't respond with anger. I wrote, "Thanks, but I won't be coming." That was it. No arguments, no recriminations. Just the truth. She didn't respond. Not a word. Not a question. It was as if she had expected it, as if she didn't want me to come. And that was the last I heard from her for some time. About 2 months later, I found out from our cousin Danielle that Melissa had given birth. Boy. No details, no name, no photos. I didn't write to her. I didn't send flowers. I still carried that invitation around in my head like a brick in my pocket. And then, out of nowhere, she called me. I almost didn't answer. She didn't start with greetings or questions like I did. She just started with how she had too much to do for the christening. Peter was busy at work, her mother-in-law was useless, the caterer had cancelled, the decorations were a mess, and she needed someone who could handle everything. She needed me. I was silent for a few seconds. She must have thought the line had gone dead. Then I said I would help. Not because I forgave her. Not because I wanted her to be happy. But because I wanted to see it through to the end. I had spent my whole life interfering in her problems. I wanted to see what would happen if I didn't protect her from the consequences. I asked her what she needed. She sent me a list as if I were her assistant. A venue, flowers, food, drinks, a guest list, a photographer, everything she needed. She wanted everything to be sophisticated but simple, elegant but fun. And all of this in less than 2 weeks. And she added, as before, that I shouldn't bring John. This time she didn't even try to explain. No, don't be offended. No fake concern. Just a direct request. As if he had become an inconvenience to her again. As if he wasn't part of me. I didn't argue. I didn't bring him. I planned this christening as if it were my own event. The venue was perfect, the food impeccable, the decorations elegant and tasteful. Everyone praised Melissa. She was in a soft pink dress, with a fake smile on her face, taking all the credit. I, as always, remained in the shadows. Until I didn't. The party was in full swing. Crystal glasses clinked, white balloons were tied to each chair, and there were little crosses on pastel cupcakes. The child, whose name I finally learned was Caleb, slept in a stroller next to Melissa like some kind of prize. Peter was talking to one of his colleagues at the open bar. People I hadn't seen in years came up to tell Melissa how beautiful she looked, how happy she was, how wonderful everything was. No one even glanced at me. She didn't mention me once. I stood there in a dress I didn't even like, watching her enjoy the compliments for what I had created. I stood there for hours, sipping bad wine, pretending I didn't care. But it was boiling under the surface. It wasn't just the hypocrisy, it was the look on her face, like she truly believed she deserved it all. Towards the middle of the party, Melissa got up with the microphone to thank everyone for coming. She said a few words about how Caleb was a blessing, about love and family, the usual things. She ended with a joke about how exhausting motherhood was, but that it was worth it, and everyone applauded as if she were a hero for pushing a stroller. And then I made my decision. I hadn't planned to say anything. I came without a plan and without a speech. But after everything she had done, what she wrote in the wedding invitation, how she cut my son out of her life, how she used me as a hired organizer, I didn't care what happened next. I snatched the microphone from her hands as she was handing it to the DJ. People probably thought I was going to give a toast or say something nice. I looked around the room and saw our parents, Peter's family, Melissa's friends from college. Everyone was smiling. Everyone had been deceived. And I began to speak. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. I just spoke clearly enough for everyone to hear. I thanked everyone for coming. I said I was glad to see so many people had gathered to honor Caleb, a wonderful boy. Then I said something about how amazing it is what a mother is capable of doing for her child, how far she will go to protect her or build the life she thinks she deserves. I said, "You are all here to honor Melissa and Peter's son, and that's good. But there's something you need to know. The man she married, the man standing there, is not Caleb's father." There was a sudden and complete silence. I looked at Peter. His face didn't change right away, but he gripped the glass he was holding more tightly. Melissa still didn't move. Then I continued. I told them that Melissa had been seeing another man for several months before her engagement, that she had slept with both men at the same time, that she had found out she was pregnant and had chosen the one with money, that she had told Peter it was his child so they would marry. Someone dropped a fork. A chair scraped. I thought I heard someone whisper, "No, it can't be." I didn't even have to name the other man. I knew that someone there would eventually figure it out. He wasn't a stranger. He was Melissa's former colleague. He had a girlfriend at the time. Probably still does. Peter left. Quietly but quickly. He didn't look at Melissa. He didn't look at anyone. He just left. Then Melissa finally couldn't take it anymore. She tried to say something, anything, but no one was listening. Several of her friends turned away. One of Peter's cousins shook her head. I finished my glass of wine, put it down, and looked at Melissa one last time. "You stopped being my sister when you said my son's autism would ruin your wedding." And then I left. I didn't go home right away. I drove around for almost an hour with the window open, no music, just the sound of the wind and my thoughts. When I finally got home, John was asleep on the couch, wrapped in his favorite blanket. The neighbor had been watching him. She didn't ask how the party had gone, and I was grateful for that. The next day my phone exploded. Missed calls, messages, even emails. Our parents were furious. Not because I lied, but because I had disgraced Melissa. Our mother said something about family loyalty and personal matters. I didn't respond. I no longer wanted to be a good daughter. Peter never came back. Someone said he packed his things that night and moved to a hotel. Melissa tried to call him, sent him pictures of the baby, asked me for help. She even sent me a long text saying that I had ruined everything and didn't understand what it was like to be under pressure. I didn't respond to her either. 2 days later, Melissa showed up at our parents' house with the baby. She moved in with us. Our father said she needed time and support. I said she needed consequences. I heard that she contacted the child's biological father. He didn't respond. He's still with his girlfriend. Still pretending he has nothing to do with it. That was the one thing Melissa didn't lie about. He wasn't going to take responsibility. He never planned to. The news spread. Quietly at first, but then more and more. The perfect little family Melissa had painted peeled away like cheap wallpaper. Her friends stopped calling. Peter's family blocked her on all social media. And me. I went back to my life. The next evening, John and I had pancakes for dinner. We laughed at a cartoon he loved. I didn't say anything to him. He didn't need to know. Weeks passed. There was no word from Melissa. My mom called several times, always starting with small talk and then coming back to Melissa. She was tired, depressed, the baby was crying a lot, and Peter still wasn't answering her calls. I listened, then changed the subject every time. She didn't pressure me. I think she knew that if she pushed too hard, I would just hang up. One day, I was leaving the grocery store with John when I saw her. Melissa. She was standing in the parking lot by our parents' car. She looked smaller, as if someone had let the air out of her. Her hair was slicked back, she wasn't wearing any makeup, and the baby was strapped to her chest in a soft carrier. I almost walked past her, but she called out to me. I didn't stop, but I turned my head so she could see I'd heard her. She didn't say anything. She just looked at me. Not angrily. Not pleadingly. Just like a person who had finally realized they were alone. I got in the car and drove away. That was the last time I saw her. Later, Dad told me that she had been talking about moving. She said she might go to a friend's house in another state and try to start over where no one knew her. I didn't say anything. He waited for me to say something else, but I didn't. That night, I sat on the floor in John's room while he lined up his toy dinosaurs in neat rows. He asked if Aunt Melissa was coming back. I said probably not anytime soon. He shrugged and went back to his dinosaurs. That was it.